doing, Doc?
I need fuel.
Give me fuel, take a flash, hit me tracing out of sight.
Now, here are your hosts, John Eddie Jr. and Tom Tuttle.
Welcome back to Fantasy Fuel. It's almost championship week.
Yeah.
Some people need some miracles. Other people are crushing and can count the money that they're going to be making. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about who we hate and who we love this week because there was some disasters of players, some must starts. You can't sit them.
Yeah.
And they're going to have you out of the money.
That's what makes the championship week so incredible. Like, come on. Yeah, okay, I can rant that I'm going to lose in the one league that I care about the most. But that's just what fantasy football is. You get these crazy, unbelievable things that happen, and that's what makes it fun. It also makes it frustrating, but that's what fantasy football is, and that's why we play the game, and that's why we love it.
So let's start off with the most heartbreaking thing about fantasy football this season for us. Thankfully, it was a basically free league. It was the Amazon Prime League where we used our subscription for Twitch Prime to give our subscription to the network. And in return, whoever wins this league gets how many ever subscriptions he has acquired over these last few months, which is great because it doesn't cost you anything if you have Amazon Prime and Twitch Prime. Great. Right. This is one of the best teams that we have put together over the years. We were 13-0 in a first round bye. Mm-hmm. We have 2 players left to go. Versus
that's good news.
They also have 2 players left to go.
Okay, even playing field. Okay,
yeah. And we're down by 59.
That's so sad. This is that's terrible.
We started off with Lamar Jackson.
Perfect start.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Derrick Henry had an off week.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook got hurt.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Tyler Boyd was on Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kenny Galladay still has David Blau throwing to him.
Yeah, that's not good.
Austin Hooper did not get a touchdown at the end of that game.
Should have been.
We'll get more into that later.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Michael Gallup was non-existent. The 49ers defense was meh.
Yeah, well,
and,
they lost.
Our 2 players remaining are Michael Thomas and Will Lutz. And only one of those players so far had double-digit points, and that was the 46 we got out of Lamar Jackson. I don't know how much better, more consistent of a team you can put together. I mean, we had some decent guys on the bench. Are we going to play Tony Pollard? No.
Yeah. I mean, we were 13-0 for a reason.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is you get super unlucky in one week, and it makes you want to cry and never play fantasy football again. But like I said, that's how it goes. So think about how this guy feels right now. The guy that we're playing against, he is ecstatic. He's going crazy. He's super happy because he just beat the undefeated team that he probably thought, I have no chance against these guys. And it's going to happen.
I believe this is actually Network's significant other.
Okay. Well, that still, this person is going to be ecstatic at this point.
And their bench would have outscored most of our players. Sterling Shepard, Curtis Samuel, Jason Witten on the bench. So the team that we played against, Patrick Mahomes, of course, had a decent game. Mm-hmm. Aaron Jones, couple touchdowns. Adrian Peterson just decided to run all over the Eagles. Tyreek Hill had a great game. Mm-hmm. DJ Moore, who had almost nothing through like 3 quarters and then exploded and gave 22 points. John Brown, 16 points on PPR against that decent Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And Robbie Anderson with a double-digit performance, which it just, you can't You can't figure it out. It's so stupid. So there's our heartbreak. I'd never gone 13-0 in a regular season before.
So at least we did that.
We did do that.
Yeah. That's doesn't really help our feelings, but
no, it sure doesn't. And that was, our team was terrible, but we went against the second highest scoring playoff team and the third highest out of everybody in the league. So we were going to have a tough time winning anyway. And then just for all our guys to put up those just stinkers.
We just got to hope Michael Thomas gets 100 points tonight.
Do we? Is that what we're doing? Because guess what? I'm playing against Michael Thomas and Drew Brees in a league that I'm up by 43 points.
Well, maybe we just take the loss, and then you can have the other one.
This is the worst part about fantasy football. Anybody out there that plays in more than a couple of leagues knows this is the worst thing about it is you have one guy, and in another league you're playing against him, like pretty much everybody. Now, this is the playoffs, so these teams were good all year long. So most of these players are going to be in the playoffs, like Michael Thomas and Christian McCaffrey and Lamar Jackson. Yeah. People who had these guys are in the playoffs. So there's a really, really high chance that you are either owning one of these guys or playing against one of these guys. Yeah. So now we have to pick our poison.
It makes it really difficult because you just got to say, which one do I want to win more?
Right.
And then root for that.
I'm not sure which ones I want to win more. I mean,
to go 13-0 and then not win it all, that stings. It stings.
It stings pretty much. Yeah. So projection-wise, they have about 50 points between the two of them, Drew Brees and Michael Thomas in this other league, and I'm up by 43. So all we need is basically one less touchdown from Drew Brees, and it's going to be a close game. So maybe it's an Alvin Kamara week.
It's possible. It's possible. What you don't want is for Michael Thomas to have a great day, Drew Brees to have a great day, and lose both games.
Right.
That's what you don't want.
That's exactly what I don't want.
You're just hoping you win one of them.
Oh, man. It's so frustrating. So we're going to keep going. We're going to talk about some of these guys. One of my favorite teams, new teams that I did this year, we've talked about, is the Superflex. And my team did amazing, except for a couple of players, which is fine because I still scored around what I've been scoring all year, and I was the highest scoring team in the league.
Yep.
Ryan Tannehill.
Perfect.
He started off pretty shaky.
No, it was shaky, but he got his points like he always does.
Carson Wentz. He started off a little shaky too, and ended up with a great stat line.
Yep.
Derrick Henry, again, I have him everywhere, so he was a little bit disappointing this week after putting up 3 great weeks in a row.
It wasn't too disappointing, but it's just enough.
Right. It was just enough to be like, oh, man, if you could have, and it wouldn't have mattered because I had Ryan Tannehill in multiple leagues that I also had Derrick Henry in. So when he rushed that one in, I was like, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. It would look better had I got points from Henry instead of them. Right. But, I mean, it was Derrick Henry. Holy crap. I'm looking at his stats right now. And in the last 5 weeks in this league, he's had 30, 44, 38, 32, 32. And then to get a 12 out of him.
It's disappointing.
It's very disappointing. But I also had Mark Ingram, so I started off the week great. Aaron Jones got a couple rushing touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey was great. James White started off hot and then did nothing the rest of the game. Travis Kelce, amazing. Michael Gallup and Jarvis Landry let me down a little bit.
Yeah, Jarvis was a letdown for sure.
But I still scored a ton of points, 246 points.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Who did I play against this week? Who are the worst people to play against?
Kenyan Drake.
Julio Jones. And Jameis Winston. All 3 on the other guy's team.
Golly. Jameis is just a conundrum to me. Like, It's funny because he started out the game throwing an interception, and you're just like, here we go.
You know what?
And then,
He's 4-1 in games where he throws an interception off the bat.
that's the thing.
What?
It's almost like I got to get my interception out of the way, then I can be a really good fantasy quarterback.
Exactly.
That's so crazy.
And I'm looking, in his 4 touchdown passes were from 34, 33, 25, and 25. So it's not like they were getting down to the goal line and, he throws a dump off to a tight end or something. No, he was just slinging it all game long. First person in history to have back-to-back 450-yard passing games.
Yeah. Now, just a little bit of a question here. Now that he has basically no wide receivers to throw to.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to be slinging the ball as much as he has been? And do you think that means somebody like O.J. Howard or Brait gets into the mix a little bit more than what they were even this last week?
Oh, man, I have been trying to go over that in my head all day because I was talking football and fantasy with some other people at work today, and that was one of the things that I have not been able to pin down my true feelings on this one yet because Jameis has been slinging it. And then he still slung it this last week without Mike Evans and eventually without Chris Godwin.
Right.
But so can Rashad Perryman do that again?
Does. But they have to go to O.J. Howard and they have to go to Brait some more if they're going to continue doing that kind of slinging.
Right.
So I don't know whether or not they're going to start running the ball more. I know that they probably get criticized for not running the ball as much as they do, but at this point, why would you stop?
It don't matter.
I mean, he's throwing the ball. He's throwing a touchdown like every time he throws the ball, it seems like.
Right.
And I just continue slinging it and see what happens. And I think, honestly, that's what's going to happen. And if I was in a pickle, and I already told one of my friends to pick up O.J. Howard last week, so he's going to start him. You have to, because one, he got 4 receptions this week, so it's not the worst. But he was in a bad situation with tight ends, so him picking him up actually got him some points. He won, so now he's in the championship game. Who are they playing next week? That's to me the big key.
That is a very good question. Let's see if I can pop it up. Come on, don't be slow, internet. This cold is killing me. The internet. Oh, come on. Where was it? They are playing Houston.
Oh, see, that's a perfect matchup. Now, that's O.J. Howard all day. But will that happen? Because it's O.J. Howard. He had such a bad year, and it's still not great. But it's starting to pick up a little bit. I think this is it. I mean, this is the only chance, and for him anyway, my friend, if you probably already have something in the championship game, something other than tight end, the rest of his team is completely stacked.
Right.
Completely stacked. So him having an issue at the tight end position, not a big deal. But now O.J. Howard comes to the mix when there's no other wide receivers besides Perryman. And you got to think they're got to get this guy involved. He's been involved in the past, just not this year. So you got to think they're going to do that. And I honestly think this would probably be his best week of the year in the championship game. Sometimes you need somebody to just go off that nobody thought of to win a championship game, and that could be this week.
Yeah, there has been guys over the years, back when it was still, like week 17 championships. I know guys like Joe McKnight were insane, like league winners, just because he ended up being the starter and somebody needed to pick him up. How are you ever going to think that Joe McKnight is going to win you a league? Like, that's almost not fair for the guys that have had consistency all year long, and then you just get lucky in the last week. I hate it. It's exciting. I mean, it's great when it happens to you, but I'm a little bitter with all the Winston and Kenyan Drake scoring this last week.
I benefited from Kenyan Drake, and there was like 2 minutes left in the Falcons 49ers game, and I was down by like 5. And I'm like, okay, this looks okay. And then all of a sudden, I'm going against Julio. Julio gets the touchdown, and a couple other things happen. And now I'm down by 40.
Yeah.
And I got 2 guys left, and he's got 1. They're both all of them are defensive players.
And he's got Darius Leonard, who is the best defensive player out of all 3 of them.
It's going to be a miracle for me to win. But I got Kenyan Drake, who had the best game of like every single non-quarterback.
Right.
And then I got Philip Lindsay, who got me 4.3 points. Big, probably one of the biggest busts of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I had Julian Edelman. To me, that is the biggest bust of the week. He got me 1.6 points. I couldn't take him out even with all the news surrounding him that he was banged up and hurt and he's going to try and give it a go. I was like, I can't take him out of the game.
No, you can't.
I can't take. He's been so incredibly consistent.
And who would you have put in his place?
It would have been Carlos Hyde, which would have gave me 20 points. So
right, that's true.
I'd still be in the game at this point. Anyway, then I also had Jarvis Landry, who gave me a big stinker. Well, he had 5 receptions, no touchdowns, only 23 yards. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I need more than that. He's been giving me more than that. And then, of course, Emmanuel Sanders, which I knew was either a boom or a bust player, but I needed that chance of a boom player. It didn't work out. I'm okay with him giving me a stinker, not this bad. I didn't expect 1.4 points.
I know.
But I was okay with him giving me like a 5 or 6 point a game. But all them guys, most of them, very consistent. Lindsay has been consistent. Now the last couple of weeks haven't been that great, but he's still giving me 15 points. Julian Edelman has been extremely. He might be the most consistent wide receiver on the year, and of course, the one week I need him to not do this, he does this.
Mm-hmm.
So I got plenty to rant about, but whatever. You know what? I got one more thing I can rant about.
All right.
Against this team. Todd Gurley. I'm going against Todd Gurley. He had a terrible game.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible game. But he got 2 touchdowns and a receiving 2-point conversion, which was it receiving? No, it wasn't. It was a rushing.
It doesn't matter. They don't get points for the catch in PPR leagues. It's just 2.
So, yeah, that's ridiculous. He got 22 points, and he did terrible. He had 20 rushing yards in 3 receptions for 18 yards. That's a terrible line.
Yeah.
But when you give him 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion, all of a sudden it's a great day.
It is a perfect day.
What the heck?
I mean, we did have Gurley in one league. We are up by 17 right now. We have Michael Thomas left, and we're going against Alvin Kamara and Marlon Mack. So it is going to be a nail biter.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we have the advantage. I think.
Let's cross our fingers.
Yeah. So we have to talk about the our listener league. It's pretty much a blowout on both ends. It is going to be Purple Pride, who I'm going to click on his team and see who he's got. But it will also be the network in our championship game. And he has hinted at me at which jersey he might want for his trophy. Can you take any guesses on who his jersey might be?
Well, he's a Dolphins fan, correct?
Correct.
All right, so I'm going to guess Fitzmagic.
No.
No? All right.
He's actually contemplating, not sure which team he wants it for, but he wants a Ryan Tannehill jersey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
If he goes with the Dolphins, that's an interesting call.
Right.
But at this point, I wouldn't. I'd go with the Titans, but he's a Dolphins fan, so I could see it.
Yep. So
he has to win first. You can't just not giving it out.
Oh, I know.
You got to win it.
So let's look at the rosters of the 2 teams that are going to make it in the championship, because there is a 0 chance that there are miracles happening in this league.
Right.
It's like 140 to 75 in one and 150 to 80 in the other. So it's done. So here's Purple Pride. They have Aaron Rodgers, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, Julian Edelman, Tyler Lockett, played O.J. Howard, Keenan Allen, and the Bills' defense. They had Devin Singletary on the bench, and that was about it. Their bench was a little but they did have...
I just want to say, he's going to the championship game, and who does he have as running back?
Christian McCaffrey.
There you go. I mean, 2-2 makes 2 and 2 makes 4.
Duh.
So, all right.
So yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Was if you had Christian McCaffrey on your team this year and you didn't make at least the playoffs,
Oh yeah.
the rest
Then
of
you
your
really
team
messed
had
up.
to have been horrible because you really didn't need a whole lot else to make the playoffs. So here is Reggie's team, the network. He has Lamar Jackson.
And he's in the championship.
Huh.
That's what I'm saying.
What do you
get
know?
the best players, and you're in the championship.
Now, he had an interesting, like, he could have just absolutely demolished every record in this league, I think, if he would have played the right combination of players. Because here's his bench before we get to who he played this last week. This is who he's got to choose from for the championship game. He had Joe Mixon on his bench, which I can understand why you're leaving him on the bench here and there because he has been inconsistent.
But he's been great the last couple weeks.
Yes.
I mean, he's been looking like he is a stellar running back again. What the heck is going on there?
Right.
But anyway, continue.
He has Cooper Kupp on the bench, who still had 16.1 points.
Yeah.
He didn't play. He didn't need to play Matt Ryan, who had an okay
Right.
game.
Yeah.
He also had Mark Andrews on the bench, but who's his other tight end? George Kittle.
Oh,
But
well,
he
maybe
could
you don't
have
need him.
he could have flexed Mark Andrews because I
true.
tried to tell him I was not a big fan of D.D. Westbrook this week, and he didn't want to listen.
He still won.
He still won. He didn't need it, so it didn't matter. But here's the rest of his starting lineup for this last week. Patrick Laird, who's been okay. Raheem Mostert was fine. DeAndre Hopkins did good. A.J. Brown, who's been a monster here and there. And the Patriots defense came back. And so, yeah, he completely and utterly demolished. It should be a big, nice heavyweight fight for the jersey.
It'll be fun to watch for sure and pay attention to. Now, if the Purple Pride team wins, I'm guessing that's a Vikings jersey. We're gonna have to dish out.
More than likely. I don't. I was going to look and see. I don't think that was anybody that I knew personally. There was a few people that were still in it that I knew. So, Purple Pride. Let's see. Do we have any indication of where this player might be from? Of course, the cold is still affecting the internet, and I'm having issues.
This is why I have such a fancy little heater.
Yes, exactly. If you're watching on Twitch, twitch.tv/fantasy fuel.
It's very festive.
Very festive. Yeah, other than he has basically an Adrian Peterson logo as his thing. So I'm assuming that's probably it. Though I don't see any Vikings on his squad. So he's not only...
that's okay.
Yes,
That's okay.
he is more than likely a head over heart player when it comes to fantasy football, which is why he's probably in the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we do have one other league that I know we're going to make. Well, I guess I shouldn't say I know.
Oh, don't start that. Don't do that.
We are up by 56.
Okay. Good lead.
And guess what? We're playing against Michael Thomas. And a second league against Marlon Mack.
Okay.
So they're projected to get 35. So if they get 56, there's something insanely wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
But we had a couple of people that kind of, Dalvin Cook, who was amazing all year, and then he left this game with a shoulder injury.
There's no news about him yet. I haven't seen anything on him yet.
No, they're kind of quiet on that one right now.
Okay, interesting.
We did have the Bills' defense in that one, so that helped out quite a bit. We had A.J. Brown on the bench in this one because we played Tyler Lockett and Chris Godwin, and our flexes were Derrick Henry and Kareem Hunt. They were doing just fine. Yeah. Of course, we have Christian McCaffrey in this one, and Deshaun Watson as our quarterback. So, and then Hunter Henry had a 2-point game after having a lot of great games in a row. But I did stash Noah Fant on the bench. He's been he's
getting progressing.
Yes. Although we do have somebody we can drop on the bench. Josh Gordon. Have you heard the news?
I saw him out there yesterday.
Yeah, he was out there yesterday, but
I didn't hear what's
today,
going on with him.
let's see if I can find the exact title here, because I believe he is suspended indefinitely without pay for violating the NFL policies on performance-enhancing substances and substances of abuse.
Okay, he's done.
He's done.
I mean, this is more than 3 strikes, you're out. At this point, you just say goodbye. Don't you?
I guess it all depends for me on what exactly. If it was just marijuana, I wish that would go away. I know people have different opinions on that one, but that seems to be one that it has helped people get by.
Well, yes, I understand that. The thing is, though, before it was marijuana, and that one he got suspended for, and that was before like the big, huge controversy of all time came with it. So that you can't change the past of all that stuff. I don't think you can take it away. Now, if you want to take away the marijuana one here, if that's the case, then so be it. But the performance-enhancing drugs one, that's a little bit of a different story. Now, we have to find out exactly what this is. But at this point, it's the same with Perfect. It's just a different thing. Perfect just completely, every single time, does something on purpose, and he knows he shouldn't do it. To me, it's the same thing with Josh Gordon. He knows he shouldn't be doing whatever it is he's doing, but he's still doing it. That's, to me, a character problem. You got to fix that.
Yeah. So I don't even know where to go with him. He was on a few of my teams just as extra help eventually down the line. And he had like a 50-yard catch. So you were like, okay, he's getting involved. Russell Wilson's got another deep threat, but he's not going to for the rest of this year.
You know, it's weird. When you think of the first seed in the NFC, do you think of the Seahawks?
Not really, but there's a chance, isn't there?
Right now, if the season ended, they'd be the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Wow. That's
crazy.
Is crazy. Oh, well. Man. Is there any other stinkers out there that we have missed talking about? Because obviously there's, guys like Saquon Barkley who had a good game, like his best game all year. But if you had Saquon Barkley on your team, you probably weren't in the playoffs this year because he wasn't able to help you much throughout most of the season.
Right, and you spent your number 1 pick or number 2 pick, depending on if you went McCaffrey or not, on this guy, and he wasn't worth it. I mean, he's still okay at times, but definitely not worth the number 1 pick. So you could have made the playoffs if you weren't relying on him. But are you in the championship game? Yeah, that's probably a stretch unless you did a really good job with the rest of your team.
Every single game that I looked at, I did not see his name.
Yeah.
Every single one, going to the championship or not, not one single Saquon Barkley out there. So that's an interesting one. Terry McLaurin had a decent game again. Right. I had to put him in because I didn't want anything to do with Odell Beckham. I literally haven't played Odell Beckham except for maybe about 4 weeks this year.
And there's no reason to. He's been a complete bust. Complete bust. Might be one of the biggest bust of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody expected him to be the same, if not as good as what he was, at least a little bit closer to maybe a little worse than it. But he's been so bad that it's – and do you really call him a bust? Do you believe that the injuries is affecting him? Like, if that's the case, I'm not super willing to say it's a complete bust.
Right.
But he is definitely not trying out there. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. And it's like – he doesn't want to get more than a couple catches every game. He's not trying enough. I don't know.
Is he pulling a Randy Moss?
Yeah, he doesn't want to be there. He might be pulling a Randy Moss.
Something like that.
Get me somewhere else.
Yep. Let's see. Who else was there? Some surprises for the week. Well, not a surprise, but Devontae Parker, he has showed up almost all season long. He got another 24 points in the Flag League this week. So if you were able to pick him up off of waivers at any point during this year, thinking that maybe he'll get it together this year, and it looks like he did. He got paid. He got a new contract, so apparently they think he's going to be able to keep it going.
Are we talking about Amari Cooper?
No, we don't want to talk about Amari Cooper.
I'm just saying that was not a good one.
No, it was a terrible. All 3 top wide receivers on that Cowboys team did garbage, and they still destroyed the Rams. So what does that tell you about the Rams?
Yeah. Woo.
The last 4 weeks in a row, Allen Robinson has scored about 22 points.
Yeah, he's been consistent, and I like that. Another guy, Robert Woods, last week was 27 points. Week before that, 31 points. Week before that, 14, 19, and then there's a 5. But this week, 5.9. Yep. So if you were relying on him to get the championship week, you probably didn't make it unless you had Kenyan Drake to make up for it. But yeah, that's a stinker.
And we're gonna end on this. Just some thoughts going into your championship game and then further down the line, because this is about the point of the year where we actually have to start looking forward to next year. And this is a very interesting player, Kareem Hunt. He has gotten 15, 13, 12, 18, 16, and 18 in the Flag League. That's a pretty darn good player, and what's going to happen with him next year? I think Kareem Hunt is probably going to be worth a decent pick next year. If he stays on the Browns, then it's going to be a nice 1-2 punch with him and Nick Chubb. But if he is somewhere else, then it is going to be up in the air. But we've got all off season to think about that. You let us know your thoughts if you have any on Kareem Hunt. But for now, we're hoping you are all in the championship game, or you get your points out of the game tonight. There's a lot of heavyweight NFL players and fantasy players in the game tonight between the Colts and the Saints. Good luck to everybody that is still left in your fantasy playoffs. And don't forget to stay fueled up throughout the playoffs and soon the off season.